Hello guys, welcome to my channel. As you know, ETC is starting soon, and I just saw on Alex Schmidt's channel on YouTube that he made some review for Orcs and Goblins and War of the Dark God as well, and I enjoy listening to that. I think it's interesting to have a good overview of the list, and since I'm preparing myself for the ETC because I'm attending, I thought, why don't I do the same with the army that I play, meaning Ogre Khan and Infernal Dwarf. I think it's best if, doing a review is kind of hard if you don't play the army yourself. I mean, you need to have a lot of knowledge, and it's sometimes hard to have sufficient knowledge on a particular army if you don't play the army. So I think it's best if I stick to these two. And just try to look like how the list variety is this year in ETC. What did people pick? What do I find interesting? So yeah, try to prevent some comment. I hope you will find it interesting. So let's start first with the first list from Miguelito. So he chose the Shamanism Master. I think that was one of the favorite choice for the Shaman this year, because Shamanism is providing some reliable tools with magic. We see Ligatong. I think this is a very good item. I picked it in my Ogre Khan list that you will see below after, but I think it's a good item because it has a huge impact in some matchups, and it's something you have to take into account at the pairing process. Then we have a Khan BSB who has Banner of Discipline. You have to have Banner of Discipline if you don't play with Leadership 9, so I think that's the right choice. MR3, Double Hunter. Yeah, the Hunter are slightly more expensive since the last update, so now you see more and more people trying to take some cheaper build because you don't want your Hunter to get too expensive. It's only 4 wounds model, can get killed pretty easily even with a good armor save and ward save. So I think more and more you see people trying to find some other build that are slightly cheaper, and there are some options. So here he picked 2-up armor save, 2-up armor save 2 times, but no ward save at all, but they still are pretty cheap and quite good offensively speaking, because here you have 6 attack, strength 6 on the charge, and here you also have strength 6, 5 attack, strength 6 always. So yeah, not a bad choice for Mammoth Hunter, but still the lack of ward save. I think I would have picked one of these with Destiny's Call, which is a very good choice at the moment because having a ward save, it's still very useful. Then we have a huge block of Bruiser and Core and 2 units of Scraplings, who is obviously the Pennant of the Gridgrass Sky. That is one of the best items in the book, in my opinion. 3 Tusker Cav with paired weapon, 3 Merc Vets. He picked Vanguard, Swift Rider and Champion. Okay. Double Keen Eater, Saber-tooth Tiger, Frost Mammoth and Slave Giant. I think Keen Eater, in my view, is a very interesting choice, especially in a team tournament, because it also has an impact during the pairing process. You have to take into account the fact that the opponent has 2 automatic ambush coming in that can threaten, for example, War Machine, stuff like that. So you have to take that into account. So I think it's good to take at least 1. Here pick 2. Then you have Frost Mammoth that has it's not an obvious choice in this list because you don't see very high synergies. I think most likely we'll want to pair him with Tusk Scav, but it's not always easy to put these two together into action, because sometimes with Tusk Scav movement 8 you're going to charge quite far and therefore be sometimes too far from the Frost Mammoth starting position to really have an impact with the freezing aura. So I'm not exactly sure why he picked the Frost Mammoth instead of something else in this list, because he's playing Bruiser and Core, and then it's only a small unit of Mergvets. So I'm not sure exactly why he decided to go for the Frost Mammoth. Not an obvious choice here. Then we have Juan playing also with Master Shamanism. And then he has Triple Hunter, so we have a Wild Earth list. He decided to go, so here you see some ward save. These are some more kitted Hunter, so to say. So we have a 2-up and 4-up ward save Hunter, then as a BSB. Okay. Then we have this guy is on Tusker with 2-up, 5-up and ward save against Fire's General. Okay, interesting. And then we have another guy with a 4-up. I think here I would have liked to see a Spine Splitter on this guy. I think that would have been a very nice addition to get a bit more impact on the charge, because yeah, Mammoth Hunter move very well, so they can often get a charge, and you're quite happy if you get some additional impact on the charge. Then you have Full Scrappling Bow, most likely to punish some unarmored armies. I guess so. Double Tribesmen and 3 Tuskers with quite a lot of scoring units, 6 of them. Triple Keen Eater, double Yetis, 2 Saber-tooth Tiger, and a Slave Giant. Some comment on this list. I think I would have put Cult Leader on the BSB here. The reason being that with Cult, so many small units moving around, you will like to have BSB 18, especially for the Yetis that are quite fragile to the first wound that you might do to them. So I think that could be an issue here. Then he decided to go with only 4 spell, which is not a lot. Yeah, I don't see exactly why he decided to put some stuff on the Shaman. Most likely you see Ogrekan player just paying Iron Fist, and that's it. I mean, with Shamanism you're already protected with parry and the attribute from Shamanism, which is often, yeah, it's I think it's enough. And I think it's more and more the case in Wild at least. You are playing your Shaman in a unit that is going to be small. It's often MSU type of list, meaning it's going to be in a unit that is going to act like a bunker. So I'm not sure. I mean, he will go within 3 Tribesmen with Standard Bearer. Is he going to see a lot of combat where this magical item, which are worth more than 100 points, are really going to make a difference? I don't think so. I would have preferred here, for example, Magical Heirloom and a Binding Scroll, for example. I think that would have been a better choice, definitely. So yeah, some choices that are, I think, debatable here. Also, what could be a concern is the slight lack of combat power. I think has a lot of threats, which is the strength of this list, but you see, yeah, Giant Strength 7, and then you're relying basically on the Tusker Cav and the Hunter to really have a high impact. I think either I would have liked to see another Giant or some kind of Rock, something to get a bit more impact. I think he will really need to pick carefully his matchup as well, because he cannot face like very big units. I think it might struggle really to face like New Vermin Swarm with big blocks. I think that's going to be a very problematic matchup for him. Borsha, he picked also Master Shamanism, so you see 3 on 3. Ligatong, Magical Heirloom with Iron Fist. Then we have Great Khan, Fob, Kingslayer, MR2, Rampager, and then Poison Attack, also having an impact on the Keen Eater, coming on the board early, and here you see 2 Keen Eaters, so this makes sense. Then we have a BSB, Khan, MR2, Yeti Furs, Viper Cross. So here you see you have first Mammoth and Mercenaries. That's a combination that you will see also in my list and in some of the lists. I think it's quite popular at the moment. Basically, it's a Khan with 4 shots, giving an MR to the Mercenaries, and also with Yeti Furs in combination with first Mammoth. Basically, you have something with very high agility, even not on the charge. So that's really good. He decided to go with Tribesmen to have another synergy unit that can synergize well with the first Mammoth, which makes sense. Pretty small unit. Sometimes you see slightly more models than 8, but this allows him to get another 3 scoring in core and then to have 5 scoring total. So I think that was the reason why. Then we have a double key, the 5 Merc Vets with Flaming Standards to get rid of some Fortitude save. I think this makes sense. Double Keen Eater, double time 2 times 2 Yetis. Yetis that can act. They are interesting choice because they can act sometimes kind of as a hunter, because you have this high mobility with Vanguard and movement 14, meaning you can go up to 26 turn 1. For quite a cheap price, basically, you can act sometimes as chaff, sometimes try to threaten war machines and stuff. Obviously, you're very sensitive to leadership issue because you are going to get easily wounded, and as soon as you lose a model, basically it's panic check on an 8, which can make you flee quite quickly. But for such a cheap price, I think they are quite versatile unit and can be useful, so why not? He brought Thunder Cannon, that's the first that we see, and the Frost Mammoth. So yeah, I think a versatile list here. Basically, Great Khan making the Tribesman and Mercenary block with all the character and Frost Mammoth. It's a similar strategy to the one that I pick. I think we see quite a lot of Ogre lists at this ETC with a similar concept. Basically making you quite strong on secondary with the Great Khan fighting abilities, and also the fact that you have a unit of Mercenary Veteran that can be really, really fast. Faster than elves, which is not that often happening. Then we have Mladen. Also Master Shamanism. He decided to pay a 2-up armor save and then Ligatong and Magical Heirloom, same command as before. I don't think it's really necessary to pay that, but maybe you wanted some additional guarantee that the Shaman wouldn't die to low strength attack. Then we have another Great Khan. Nice to see him. This armor is really interesting. I think the reduction to strength 5 help him in the fighting in challenges, I think, in duel. Kagadai, quite good, but as you can see here, the price is slightly, it's definitely more expensive. So here it went with definitely one of the best fighting Great Khan that you can get, basically reducing the opponent strengths. Orc Charm is dividing the multiple wound. Troll Eater is giving him the regen 4-up, and then his strength 7 multiple wound D3. So yeah, very strong in fighting against other character. It's one of the best probably that you can build for the Ogre Khan. Then he picked Khan BSB with the banner that makes you reroll the 1. Quite expensive choice, but definitely improving the damage output of the Death Star. Great weapon or crossbow MR2. So if you got another MR, 9 Bruiser with the Swift Stride banner, 2x3 Bruiser, okay. Most likely I think he's going to form a Death Star with all 3 characters together within the Bruiser. I think that's how he's going to play them. Then we have 4 Tusker, 3 Tusker cards. This, yeah, surprised me a little bit to see so many Tusker cards until now. I thought they were not that good in my opinion. But clearly you have quite a lot of attack on them and they can charge far, so why not? And then it paid 2x2 Yeti and a Rock. So definitely a combat list. You have nothing that do damage from range. A lot of scoring, 5 scoring unit. Yetis that are going to be used also as chaff. And then Rock to add some impact. So yeah, definitely a combat list that is going to move forward. And has to take points. Ragnar playing Master of Thaumaturgy finally. Magical Rune, Rod of Battle. I think Rod of Battle, it's an item that is undervalued for by some player, especially with the Ogre Khan. I think it has some use because it's an army that basically you have no way to hit better, and that's the only way one of the only way where you can increase your damage output. Most of the spell that you have, combat buff that you have access to with the Ogre Khan, basically apart from Flaming Sword and +1 strength. From Shamanism, the rest are resilience buff, defensive buffs. So you struggle to augment your damage output, and Rod of Battle, it's one of these items that can help you getting that, and there are not a lot of them. And also what I like, it's an automatic spell, meaning if you play smart, you magic phase, and you cast some scary spell at the beginning, you might just at the end keep 2 dice and it's automatically cast, meaning you don't have any risk to fail it, which is kind of nice for the slow price. So I think it's kind of a good item, and he has 6 spell, which is quite good. The Khan MR2, MR4, Cult Leader, I think this is a good choice. Viper Curse, going together with the 5 Merc Vets, we saw that before. Huge block of Tribesmen, double Tribesmen, 5 Yetis, Saber-Tooth Tiger, double Squad Apple, double Bombardier, Frost Mammoth, Save Giant. So as we can see here, quite a small character section in comparison to the other list that we saw before, and meaning I have some doubt that this Tribesman unit will be sufficient to, I don't know if it will be really able to shine in combat, because you block to strength 4, obviously paid Rending Banner, no parry here, which makes sense to not be too expensive. And since you don't play Shamanism, sometimes with Shamanism you like to have Iron Fist because you can play also with -1 to hit. But yeah, in this case I have some doubt about this unit of Tribesmen. I would have seen maybe rather a unit of Bruiser and then pay the Shaman a Ligatong, for example, to help them a little bit. It would also have had some strengths in the list, because if you check the rest of the list, Yeah, strength 5, strength 5. You have giant strength 7. Slow number of attack of strength 6, but not a lot, so the strengths could be an issue for this list. Obviously he has a lot of units, so that's a strong point, especially scoring wise. He can also use them as chaff, so potentially he has a lot of units that he can sacrifice to get into nice condition. Then we get to Schloss, Master Shamanism again. He also decided to invest some point for Restless Belt and Ritual Bloodletter, which is 100 points here. Then we have a Great Khan with Kingslayer again, Orc Charm, Potion of Swiftness, Handhunter is a good way to heal him if you fight a little bit, so kind of fighting middle priced Great Khan. Then we have a BSB with a Mammutite Cloak, so some defensive stuff, and a 4+ Regent, so quite... yeah, a lot of investment. As you can see here, the BSB is really expensive. I'm not sure if you see most of the Ogre Khan list decide, especially if you play another fighting character, I'm not sure you need to invest so many points in the defensive setup of the Khan. Here basically that's 150 points invested to help your Khan BSB survive. Not sure this is particularly needed. Then we have 3 Mergvets, so we don't have a shooty Mergvets, but he still decided to pay the Viper Curse. 9 Tribesmen, 3x3 Bruiser, 3 Mergvets, 3 Sabertooth Tiger, which is quite a lot, 2x3 Bombardier, and double Rock. Okay, yeah, I would say magic-wise seems slightly short with only 4 spell. I think rather than Bloodletter and Restless Belt, could have been interesting to get again Magical Heirloom, maybe even Rod of Battle, or Binding Scroll, always a good choice I think. And then also here quite a lot of points invested. I don't know if I wouldn't have put these points elsewhere. Then he decided to go with Tribesman, with Iron Fist. I think here with Shamanism, I see why. I think he can compensate a little bit the lack of power with the fact that he has some characters that are quite fighty, and he can put all of them within the mercenaries, which I think will be the case if you look at the rest of the list. And then basically rely on the fact that Tribesmen with Iron Fist are going to tank. What I would have liked to see in this list, if I were him, would have been maybe to put also Ligatong to help them getting very good survivability and get a very solid Death Star. We can also question if 9 of them is enough. If 10, 11, 12 could have been better, but still you have to consider the fact that he has 3 characters within the unit, and then the rest basically is MSU. It's a lot of unit. Also here maybe with so many units moving around, BSB 18-inch wouldn't have been too much, because I'm not sure you can fit everything within the BSB and general bubble. And when you play Rock, you have to be careful of the frenzy. So I think here's, I would have maybe considered the 18-inch BSB. This is my list. I will talk about it separately in my tournament introduction, but you see the list and you see some things that people play before, so I think it's nothing too new. And then we have Peter playing a Master Thaumaturgy, so no Pyro until now. Destiny's Call, Iron Fist, Ligatong. Okay, yeah, as well Peter decided to pay for Ward Save on this guy, but he's Thaumaturgy, so it's not Shamanism, so if you expect to fight a lot, maybe it's worth it. Oh, we have a second Shaman actually. You don't see that often, double Mage for Ogre Khan, because as you can see it's a huge amount of points. It's 900 points for magic and semi-fighty character. Okay, with Firebrand, so a lot of spell at his disposal, but mostly not a lot of buffs, combat buffs, mostly damage spell. Then we have a Khan, Flaming, 2-up armor save, great weapon, Troll Eater, so here as well you see expensive BSB with 2-up, 4-up. Bruiser block, most likely going to have all character within the unit. Here the nice stuff with Firebrand is the fact that you get also a breast weapon, which is kind of nice within the Death Star. 2 units of Tribesmen, yeah, a bit expensive. I don't know if rather than that you can keep them 155 and then get like either 1 or 2 more Bruiser, or maybe a small unit yeah, I think I would have paid a small unit of scraplings for 115, which is almost the same. And then you get a 4 scoring, because 3 scoring is a bit short to my taste. I think it could be problematic, especially if one of them has to fight. Then you have only 2 units that can move freely for secondary objective purposes, which is not always easy to do. Double chaff pieces, a thunder cannon, a scratapult, double rock and slave giant. So 3 monster, a Death Star, and some expendable chaff pieces, some small expendable tribesmen, but you will need them for secondary, so you cannot really use them too freely to chaff. And then he picked some shooting, so 1 cannon I think make always much sense, because it's scary. People with big monster don't like to face a cannon, so I think why not. And then scratapult. So for me, one aspect that I figured out when I played last year with my Ogre Khan, because starting from the start of this year I didn't play much with Ogre Khan until a couple of weeks ago. It can be problematic in some matchups when you don't play the Frost Mammoth combo with other units. It can be problematic to strike last. And here, as you can see in this army, basically the only way that he could kill some, for example, Dread Elves, hard hitting, fast hitting, could be a big trouble for him. If he cannot really get the charge that he wants with his main units, and Rock and the Death Star, it can be really problematic, because they are going to strike first and can do some damage. For example, against Bruiser, it could be big trouble. Also, unit like Myrmidon, stuff like that. I had some bad experience, so I think this could be an issue for his list. And then we have another list, I think, below here. Yeah, friends, Zachary. So he's playing Master Shamanism as well. So definitely the most popular choice was a Master Shamanism this year. Then you have a Great Khan, again Destiny Skull, Paired Weapon, Kingslayer, MR2, Rampager. This is quite usual. He decided to go with Spine Split as well, which is not too expensive. Still reasonable price for Great Khan. Mammoth Hunter, 2 up, 4 up ward save, Breast Weapon. So expensive version. You see Mammoth Hunter 450, it's quite expensive. But yeah, it can do quite a lot. Portion of Strength as well, okay. BSB with MR2, Viper Curse, he played Mercenary Veteran, the Frost Mammoth, we saw the combination before. He went also for the Iron Fist Tribesman to play also them in combination, sometimes with the Frost Mammoth. A big block of Scrapping, something that we didn't see until now. Some small unit, Scrapping Trapper and Saber-tooth Tiger. I think this is a very good choice. I picked that myself as well, because sometimes it can help you to block some Vanguard that could be annoying, also to cause some DTs on big units. So for 80 points, I think the Trappers are very useful. And it's a nice combination. I definitely prefer that rather than having double Tiger, for example. And he went double Scratapult, so yeah, I think strategic option meta-wise for his team to be very good against big blocks, big units. So yeah. Okay, interesting, guys. So what can I say? I think here somebody helped me a little bit. So you see quite a lot of Great Khans. We have 5 Great Khan out of 8 Ogre Khan, which is quite a lot. We have some Hunters as well. We see Rock, Frost Mammoth, Slave Giants, so all 3 of them. Tusker Cav, Yetis, quite a lot of small unit of Yetis, which surprised me. We saw Bombardier, we saw Scratapult, Cannon. We saw really pretty much everything. I think the very positive news here is the fact that the Great Khan, since the last update, and also since the meta shifted a little bit towards maybe less single unit, I think the Great Khan became again quite attractive for Ogre Khan. I think that's a very positive news since the last update, because we didn't see at all the Great Khan last year, and I think this is very positive to see slightly less Mammoth Hunter, slightly more Great Khan. So interesting. Yeah, we saw pretty much everything, so really depending on the taste. I've told you a little bit what I like. Definitely these are my comments, these are my tastes, so if you play this list and I made some comments how I would have changed things to make the list better, in my view, don't be offended. It's only my view and my experience with Ogre Khan and the way I see it. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope it was interesting for you to go over all these organ lists. And yeah, talk to you soon on other video covering the ID list. Bye bye.